It's Watchlist Wednesday, and today I'm finally ready to talk about Ted Lasso. I haven't been ready until now. Some of you are probably like, why are we talking about Ted Lasso now? It just ended. And others are like, I just never got into it. But what I want to call out is that Ted Lasso is a leadership show. And so let's talk about the themes of leadership that run through all 3 seasons. If you don't know anything about Ted Lasso, he is a guy who is a American football coach. He coaches college football, and he's recruited to move to London and run a football team. But the problem is he doesn't know anything about soccer at all. He's primarily hired to ruin the team. And so there's a theme there that I won't get into, but there's a really strong theme of kind of female leadership, female empowerment that runs through all seasons and is tied to that kind of concept. But I won't spend time there. Today we're talking about Ted. So Ted is a leader who embraces change. Obviously, he's literally leading a team that does things he doesn't know how to do. So he's a football coach and he knows everything you need to know about American football, but forget it when it comes to soccer. But he very much leans in and is willing to learn and to change and to adjust based on what he learns about the sport, about his players, about the industry he's in. And that's a huge, huge thing as a leader to be able to really be flexible in those situations. Ted is also a leader who leads by example. He doesn't ask things of the team that he's not willing to do or that he hasn't done before, except maybe play soccer. So he's very much listen, I'll train with you. I'll get my hands dirty. I'm going to walk the walk and I'm going to talk the talk. There's very few opportunities as a leader for them to claim that Ted is not willing to lead them through example and by being with them in it. Ted is also a leader who leads from deep empathy and connection. And this one's super important. Ted is not the kind of leader who just sort of stands back and is like, well, this is my leadership style and you all need to adjust. Ted gets to know the team and understands where each of them is coming from and tries to bring out the best in each of them. And one of the things I think happens for leaders is they get in this mindset of, this is my leadership style and you will all adjust. And that is not your job. As a leader, you need to get to know your team and understand what they need in order to bring out the best. Does that make the job harder? Hell yeah. But that is the job. That is the brief. Do the job, right? So Ted does that. And he understands that connection will drive the best out of his team and build the best team together. Their connection as teammates and his connection to them as a coach. And so he really builds the container and the space for that. Ted also leads with a ton of positivity. I mean, he's silly and he tells crazy, quirky stories and he has a funny coaching team, right? But he really doesn't avoid the hard topics. He lets them deal with their feelings of failure. He lets them deal with the hard parts of being human and being on a team. And then he asks them to step back in to positivity, to opportunity, to seeing hope, to believing that there's something out there that they can win at and be good at. Overall, Ted is a hopeful, positive, hard driving and ambitious leader. He believes in the team. He believes in the power of each person. He believes in collaboration. And he believes that there is good in the world and that they have a role to play. And I think from a leadership perspective, our job is to inspire and motivate and listen and engage and connect. And Ted demonstrates that at every turn. I recently saw an interview with Hannah Wadlington, who's one of the actors on the show. And she was asked why it was so successful and why people are so emotional about it. And she said, it is the perfect alchemy of the best writers and the best people. And I think that's really, really accurate. I think what Jason Sudeikis did was he brought together this crazy group of great writers and asked even more of them. And then he got these great actors and asked even more of them. And so what you end up getting is a story that is funny and will make you belly laugh, and a story that will make you cry and will break your heart, and a story that is about hope and belief and positivity and teamwork. And so I really believe as a leader, you can learn a lot from hanging out with Ted. If you haven't watched it, I suggest you do. If you don't have Apple TV, you typically can get a 3-month subscription for free, like a trial subscription. And quite frankly, a month or 3 months is plenty of time to watch this show a couple times. It's 3 seasons. It's not crazy long. And once you start, you'll barrel through it pretty fast. If you have watched it, I recommend you start over. Even if you now know the ending, start over and watch it through the leadership lens and see how you as a leader can learn something new by watching it again. There are great characters in this show. You're gonna fall in love with them, and there's gonna be some that you're like, oh, I like to hate this person, right? But that's the beauty of a show like this, is that it's layered and has some complexity and some texture that really draws us in. So watch Ted Lasso. That's my Watchlist Wednesday for today. Keep your eyes open. I'm going to start a little book club. You all know I love me some books. So what I'm going to do is probably tomorrow, I'll share a book that I want to read together in July. It won't replace Watchlist Wednesday, but I want to kind of throw in some opportunities for us to read a book together, to discuss it, and to maybe even have a little book club session late in July. I probably will pick something a little older that we can all dive into for our first book, and then we'll move into something newer in August. So that's my plan. So keep your eyes open for that. And if you have comments about Ted Lasso, if you want to talk about leadership, if you want to be a better leader, you can always get some coaching from me. I love to coach leadership. It's one of my favorite things. So if that's of interest to you, you can find me on leahfarmer.com. You can find my coaching on leahfarmercoaching.com. And I am here and would be happy to talk to you. So until next week, go watch Ted Lasso. Go on.